Bowhunter Chronicles podcast brought to you by Tacticam. Tacticam is by far the easiest way to begin filming your hunts. Whether it's a budget-friendly solo or the 4K 5.0, Tacticam has something for everyone. We're also working in conjunction this year with Spartan Forage. Spartan Forage uses military intelligence to pinpoint deer movement and their patterns, and they've got plenty of other features that are coming. I've got to talk to Bill about that, maybe even bring them back on here to talk about what they've got coming up here towards the end of the month. There's going to be a ton of other features added, and the price is going to go up a little bit, but if you were to sign up now, that price is going to be locked in forever, so it's going to be grandfathered in, and I've got to get with him so I can get you guys some better information on that. But we're excited to see what Spartan Forage has as far as, you know, patterning these deer. It's like the farmer's almanac on steroids that uses, you know, thumb in the air average history. There's some other products out there that use kind of like that same mentality, but this is using data points from collared deer studies, trail cam photos, car deer accidents across all regions of areas where there's whitetail. So you can check that out at spartanforage.ai, but that's a great program that we're working with this year. This is going to be like a really odd podcast because this right here is what you're getting. I've always listened to guys like Jason Samkoviak, and I've heard Kevin on the Deer Hunter podcast do it a couple times where it's just him talking and kind of answering questions or going over a topic. Long story short, one of our guests that we had on, we recorded a podcast all set to go, and much like the last one, I was able to get a little bit more information than he wanted to give out. So that one's going to hold off for a couple weeks until he can get everything out, because there's some things that they launched on the podcast that they want to have for the upcoming weeks on their platform. So that left me with kind of scrambling. John is getting ready to go to the Florida Keys and do some offshore fishing. If you follow along on our Instagram, you've seen him getting ready for that. I mean, he's got a lot to do. I mean, for guys that take 2 and 3 weeks off at a time, you know, anybody that goes on vacation knows there's some stuff that you need to shore up. And then when you're going for extended periods of time, you know, that's what he's doing right now. So I was left with, what am I going to do? So what I did is I put out some questions to our Patreons and said, hey guys, what do you want to talk about? So I'm going to answer some questions from them this evening, and just kind of go over some of my thoughts. I've been thinking about doing that here now, trying to figure out a way to talk about some of this stuff. But real quick, I want to go over like our Patreon program. Patreon's just a crowdfunding, but what we're doing with it is creating a community. So, I mean, Patreons support the show. So John's going to Florida, and he's going to do some fishing. He needed a computer. Earlier this year, my computer took a crap, the one that I produce all the podcasts with. I had to buy a different one. I repaired that other computer. Now John's going to have that down there to be uploading all of his video and all that stuff. So hopefully we'll be getting some pretty cool video with the Tacticam fish eyes that they gave us, and he's going to be down there doing that. And you know, John on here is a rather reserved kind of guy, but when you get him talking about things that he really enjoys, and fishing is one of them. So I'm excited to see. I mean, I'm excited to see what he comes out with that. But it's the Patreons that allow us to do that allow us to get all this gear that I'm going to be talking about on this podcast to check out. So basically, it's, you know, there's a couple different tiers now. I added a second tier, you know, for some of the other things, but we do a whole bunch of giveaways. I'll get to those in a minute. But it's basically, I mean, it starts at, you know, $5 a month, 17 cents a day to help us. But moreover, you get to be part of this community and answer these questions, you know, full access to everything that we're doing. And we can't thank them enough. Shout out to our latest podcast Patreons, Tim Waters, Brian Barnes, and Bob Storer. And Bob's gone up to that $10 tier, so he's getting one of the winter hats that I just had done up. I'm sending one of those out. And then Edwin Stinky out in Iowa. That's the first guy from Iowa. He's been pretty active. I started up a Marco Polo group for building that community, and that's where I got these questions from. We've been bouncing things off of each other. So if you're listening and you're one of the Patreons and you're saying, wait a minute, I didn't get anything about that, I sent out a link through Patreon yesterday or this morning with that information on there. I think there's like 21 guys on there, but that's going to be really cool when we get into shed hunting, scouting, setups, people trying to dial in their gear, because we've got some serious killers, like guys that shouldn't even be listening to the things that I've got to say in the Patreon. I mean, I'm blown away by the support, but it doesn't hurt that we're doing some giveaways through Patreon. So Tacticam is giving away for this quarter 5.0 with the Turkey Reaper. Tacticam has said if you kill something, or when you kill something on video and you win it, send it into Tacticam and they'll edit it up and they'll put it on their social media for you. So, I mean, that's pretty sweet. And then Latitudes is giving us a classic saddle, and one of the things is like, what are you going to do with just a saddle? So I've got a bunch of the XOP mini sticks, so I'm going to pair that with the Artisan Outdoor platform that I've been using, similar kit to the one that we gave away last year. This last year was the trophy line setup, and just so that it's not brand specific one way or the other, and I want to check them out myself, we're going to pair that with some tethered ropes. And then with Base Map, I mean, we're big fans of Base Map. I'm actually beta testing. They're upgrading their offline maps right now, and so we're working with them on that. We've got a code. You can go online, use Chronicles, get 20% off. So it's $24 for the year for the entire country. Really great maps, tons and tons of layers. They've got fishing. They've got lake depths. They've got all that stuff, which is really important for us here in Michigan. But they give away one of their pro packs and shirts and hats and all of that. Spartan Forage, which we mentioned, he's giving away a subscription, and that's going to be, really awesome once we announce the new features of that. And then the guys from Zinger Fletches, people are just coming out of the woodwork saying, we like what you're doing, let us help you out. So the guys from Zinger Fletches are giving away a set of the Fletches, and those are the 3D printed, kind of like a quick Fletch, super stable. You can go on DIY Sportsman, it's YouTube. He's got a thing breaking down everything that they do. You can check them out at Zinger Fletchings. Just Google it. A lot of the tethered guys are using those. And you can check all of that out at Bowhunter Chronicles Podcast.com. Click on the Patreon link or go to Patreon/Bowhunter Chronicles Podcast.com. But you don't have to. One of the things with us is I'm trying through this podcast is to help as many people. It's one thing that keeps coming up is, my buddies that do podcasts, and they say, what's your why? Why are you doing this? And I couldn't really put my finger on it, but I think, from the outset, we just wanted to inspire people, and I think that's kind of turned into empower people. So through the guests that we have on, and through our failures and our testing and all the things that we do, to let guys know that it's okay to shoot small bucks. It's okay to miss every single thing that you shoot at, like Frank. All of that is, we just want to give back and let people get back to enjoying their time in the woods, and want to pass that along to somebody else so that we can continue doing this. And another thing is, like, we've been doing this for a bunch of years now, and we're not affiliated with any bow companies. But we wanted to do a bow giveaway. It just makes sense, I mean, a bow hunting podcast should be giving away. If we're going to give away anything, we should be setting somebody up with a bow. So we're giving away a awesome bow, same bow I'm going to be hunting with this year, which is the Bowtech Carbon Zion. I've been shooting the Carbon Deploy. I mean, the last 3 years or whatever, when we were at ATA, we shot all the bows. There's some really awesome bows, but I'm cheap, and I mean, dollar for dollar, that bow, the Carbon Icon, that Carbon series, is incredible. It's very difficult to beat for a Carbon bow. If you're following along with Ranch Fairy, he just put out a post about short axle bows. The Carbon Zion is a pretty small bow, shorter axle to axle, but for the price, Carbon bow, the way that it shoots, the value of it is incredible. So that's what we chose to give away in conjunction with our local bow shop, Johnson's Great Outdoors in Montague. Mitch has been super helpful with us, but I mean, and this isn't like Bowtech's telling me I got to say this. We're coming out of pocket for these bows. I'm buying my bow, and I'm buying one to give away. HHA has given us a sight and a rest. It's a Tetra single pin. I think it's the Tetra Max. It's the good one. I mean, it's not the lower end one by any means. So it's an incredible package, and that we're going to be giving that away. We'll do a live stream from Total Archery Challenge. That's something that we're doing this year. But all you have to do is go to our website and just sign up for the email list, or go to Instagram, click the link in our bio, and click the bow giveaway and fill out the form. And that's it. And right now, I mean, as of right now, there's less than 100 people that are signed up for that. So your odds are really good. And I think like 5 of them are one guy from our Patreon has just put in every email that he's ever had in his whole life. And our Patreons are getting extra entries for that as well. I mean, because they're the ones that support the show. They're the one that's driving this bus. So you can go and check that out. But just tell somebody about the podcast. Tell somebody about what we're doing. Tell somebody, like, look, these guys really suck at bow hunting, and you got to check them out. They're they got a podcast, and they're worse hunters than we are. Like, maybe we should do this. And by all means, if you need any help with that, give me a call. I'll help you out, certainly. But today's podcast, and I think rightly so, I put out questions to our Patreons and said, what do you guys want to hear about? What questions do you have, or whatever? And naturally, they weren't asking me about tactics. They wanted to know about gear, in my opinions, and things like that, and what saddles. And I've said it before. It seems like we're kind of saddle heavy, and I really I like dealing with gear. I like trying it out. I like being able to test it and see. I'm in a place where that's kind of all I spend my money on is hunting. I don't fish. I don't do a whole lot of other stuff. So everything is hunting. So that's where my extra money goes. And then having a podcast and a platform, we get discounts or free stuff, so we get to try even more stuff. And I think that saddles are all the buzz, so that's where we're expending our energy, and do a lot of pack testing and stuff like that. And with all of these saddles, which I'll get into in a minute, we've got a ton of them laying around. And so what we're going to start doing for the Patreons is sending them out. If guys want to try them, because you can't, it's tough to get your hands on them. I know that there's going to be some tethered saddles in some of the stores, at least around here in Michigan, as well as the Latitude saddles are going to be in Michigan as well. Hold on. I'm sitting here with a glass of scotch, and my throat's getting a little bit sore. So, but with all the gear talk, I think one of the things that's lost, and I've had this conversation with a few people, both that do podcasts and things like that, and just people that are looking for information. is that I think we romanticize the gear and we think that that's going to make us better hunters or that's going to make the difference. And I don't think that there's one piece of gear, whether it's a heavy arrow, maybe maybe a fixed blade broadhead, um, but a saddle or this stick or anything that's made me a better hunter. I think talking to all of these guys and the will to learn and the want to get better um, has driven that bus. I'm sitting here looking at around my basement. The last 3 of the 4 bucks that I've killed in the last 3 years, and that's way more, much higher success rate than before I started the podcast. And I think by trying to learn, by going out and actually assessing the woods, deciding when not to hunt and just scout, or if it doesn't look right, don't set up on there. I was having a conversation with the guy, and I think one of the main things is we put too much effort into gear. We're spending all of our energy researching and looking and doing all this stuff now, and it's here in Michigan, it's single digit temperatures outside, so you don't really want to go out there, so it's easy to do that. But we could spend just as much time looking at maps and trying to figure out where we want to go so that when that weather breaks, we can go out and scout and put the time in. And I think that's probably more valuable. So, as we go through our lives, I feel like when I was younger, I had a lot more time than money. And as I get older, I have more money than I have time. And so we're trying to say, well, if I just spend my money on this, it's going to make it better. It's going to make me better. It's going to, I see all these guys that are killing stuff with, this gear or that gear. But I think really what the important part is spending that time in the woods and learning the woods and getting out there and failing. So, for guys that are starting out, and this is just my opinion, but I don't think it's lost, is, spending that time learning about deer and woodsmanship and getting out there. If you go back to the first podcast that we had with Jason Campbell, way back when, last 2018 sometime, if you listen to the podcast with Andy May, obviously Warren Womack, these guys have notebooks upon notebooks of all of the hunts that they've been on, the wind directions, deer sightings, so that they can go back and look at that stuff. They're not saying, well, it was this piece of gear or whatever. So they, prior to all of that, put themselves in a situation to see these deer and maybe mess up on these deer. And, everybody has failures, but they learned how to be, great hunters, or hunters that put themselves in these positions to kill these deer. And then they made the equipment adjustments. So one of the questions that I had posed to me was like, for a new guy starting out with saddle hunting, or for what sticks would you go with, what saddle kit, whatever. And I'll kind of put it in the same terms as I've talking to people about bows. So there are 2 of our Patreons right now. One of them is Brian. He's out, I believe, in Maryland, and posted a picture. He's hunting with an old Browning that he got from Goodwill. I think he said he missed 5 different deer with it, but he's completely hooked. And he's out there doing everything that he can to get on these deer with this old bow. And Ralph is in Oklahoma. He's shooting a similar Browning, from way back when. And I think those guys, if they go to any bow from the 2010 to today, they could pick up a $100 used bow at a garage sale if it was a if it was from that era, if it has, dual cams and it has 80% let off and the shock and the speed, it's going to be night and day different. It's going to be apples and oranges. So different. It's going to seem like the best bow ever. You don't need the V3. I think going from a climber or ground hunting or not being mobile to going to saddle hunting, and I think this is why so many people, whichever saddle they buy the first time and they have a good experience, they think it's the greatest saddle ever. And there's nothing wrong with that, but online it makes it such a pissing contest, is that it's such a different feeling. Like, just get out there and get one and hunt, and then figure out what you need. Because it's very personal. Everybody's body shapes are different. There wouldn't be all of these different saddles. There wouldn't be a million tree stands if they didn't fit people. They didn't work differently. So, on that note, I think, whatever your price point is or whatever you get into, especially with sticks, just use what you have available to you and then kind of go from there and figure out what you like and what you don't like. And I think that's, on the last podcast, that's what Jason was telling me as I was saying, well, I just want to kill a bigger buck. These are the things that I want to do, how I want to do it. And he said, that's just the evolution of a hunter. And I think that's one of the things is I think we're trying to buy our way out of that learning curve, whether it's killing deer or figuring out gear. I think the gear is getting a little bit more expensive, but I think we're getting more and more to the marketing side of it. With saddles, and the specific question was, what would be a good saddle kit for someone just starting out? And I think that's going to come down to budget, and what you're trying to get out of it. So, just for reference, the saddles that I have hunted from are the Mantis, in this order: Mantis, the Trophy Line Ambush Pro and Ambush Light, a Phantom, Latitude Classic, the Trophy Line Covert was the last one the Covert Light was the last one that I hunted out of. I currently own still the Covert, the Classic, and both of the Trophy Line ambushes. The Mantis was shipped all over the country to 4 or 5 different guys and ended up with one of our Patreons, now Justin in New York. The Ambush Light is currently with the Redneck Tech Podcast guys down in Georgia. I currently have a Cruiser XC that they sent me to check out. I have that Hawk that I did the video on, and then I've got my brother's Latitude Method. And I think that all of those saddles are, some are similar, others, you could do better. There's things about every one of them I think that you can say is, I like this or I like that better. So it's going to be whatever is different for you, different body style, budget. So personally, my opinion is, so as if you were looking for a complete kit, you kind of only have, well, it's becoming more and more available, but Tethered started out to be the one-stop shop. So they said, okay, well, we want you to be able to buy everything from us, and you don't have to search around and source it. And they've done a very good job of that. Trophy Line followed right in their footsteps, and they said, okay, we're going to do the exact same thing. So you could buy whatever you want. I don't think, obviously if you're a Trophy Line guy, they make the best stuff ever, and you're going to gravitate towards their stuff. I'm excited to see, so this podcast will come out on the 10th, the 11th. The Boga podcast has a podcast and product launch, much like we did with Trophy Line, and I think they're going to come out with another platform. That's what the pictures are looking like anyways. I don't have any inside information on that, but it's not hard to put the pieces together. So that might change things, but it all just depends on budget. I mean, I think by far, as far as the best budget saddle out there, and we're talking, inexpensive, but full features, is Latitude Classic. That's my favorite saddle. Now, why would you not want to buy that saddle? It's definitely following the footsteps of the tethered saddles. So it is a minimalist saddle, I'll call it. So there's not a whole lot of material there. It's a small saddle. It's very compact. Next up in that budget category, I don't have any experience with the Cruiser S, but I would say that saddle is, if it's anything like the XC, as far as material and build quality, it's going to be phenomenal. But one of the things with Cruiser is you have to pay for an upgraded adjustable bridge, but those saddles are a little bit bigger. There's more material. I feel like the Cruiser XC is going to be super comfortable. The Covert Light is a similar shape, I feel like, when you're wearing it. Trophy lines are, in my mind, overbuilt, and their straps, we talked about it with Sean, they're a little bit rigid, but I think that's not a very good adjective. I think one of the things about the Trophy lines that I don't care for, the material that they're made out of, while it is rigid, it's kind of rough, and so it's not, walking in, it's really stiff and kind of has like more, that you're wearing it. It's kind of rubs. There's a lot of material there. The XC is big like that. It has the same amount of material. It fits the same. You kind of sit into it rather than like on it or have it support you. Both super comfortable. I don't really care for the Trophy Line bridge with the carabiner on there, but I mean, for $199 for that saddle, and it comes with 2 pouches, I mean, that's a great value, and it's going to be a comfortable saddle, and it's going to be really hard for somebody not to like it. I mean, down the road, you could upgrade the bridge to like Cruiser offers that upgraded bridge. But again, this conversation is getting super, super convoluted to say like this is what you need to buy. I think when you're looking at saddles, these are the things that I would be most concerned with, is obviously what's your budget. And I think that's why the Phantom doesn't really enter into my conversation. And also I have a TX5 on the way, and it's just waiting to be built, and I'm excited to see that. And one of the things that keeps showing up online is that you don't see those for sale. So, what's the mark of something, great, is that you don't see another one for sale. Nobody's selling them. They get it, and that's what they're using. So that's pretty cool. But the one thing that I think edges out the Phantom is just price. And some of these are just, you can, $50 is a lot when ropes cost $50 or things like that. So that's where it's difficult. But if I was looking at a saddle, for my first saddle, I would say I would like an adjustable bridge. That would be number one. I want an adjustable bridge. And people are going to ask about 2-panel saddles. For me, it's a fiddle factor. So if you've never used a saddle before, you may be okay with it, because that'll be what you start with. That's what you know. There's no fiddle factor. You'll just be used to that coming from a tree stand. There's going to be tons of fiddle factor for saddles and setup and how they feel. But like I said, for me, I would be looking at adjustable bridge, and then I would be looking at attachment points for your sticks. So you're going to probably put some pouches on there, and then you're going to have to carry your sticks up somewhere. So you want to see where there's molly, if it's up high, if there's more than one row, you know, where are you going to attach all of your other things, and then price. I mean, those are basically the features that I look for in a saddle. I'm not looking for whether I can remove the leg loops. Um, you know, they've kind of gotten away from what Tethered did with the microfit adjusters, and I mean the Covert has those, but um, I think they're shaping the saddles a little bit better, so you don't need that. But as far as like a complete kit, if I was going for like completely like a budget setup, strictly because it comes with the pouches, I think that the Covert Light is probably the one of the best values. I mean, they offer codes, so you could potentially get a saddle with an adjustable bridge, albeit one that has a carabiner, um, two pouches, for less than $200, which is a good deal. Now, if you wanted something that was 100% manufactured in the U.S., you'd be looking at, on that budget saddle, the classic. Obviously, I've stated it's my favorite. They are coming out with a rope bridge, a rope belt. So they're doing a metal-free version, which I think will make that just about perfect. I would like a lower set of molly attachments so that there's somewhere else to put my sticks, because it gets kind of crowded being a minimal saddle like that. But if you're looking for comfort, you could look at some of the 2-panel saddles, but there's additional fiddle factor, and that Cruiser XC is awesome. I'd stay away from the Hawk. A straightaway budget, if you can get a really good deal on a used older trophy line, that's cool. I don't think that you'll have any issues, but you're definitely going to want to upgrade. And I think the same thing could be said with the Mantis, is that with that, you're going to want that adjustable bridge. And one of the other things I don't like is the not one size fits all. Trying to figure out whether it's, you're in between sizes, and Trophyline has a medium large and large, extra large, and I fall directly in the middle. So with me falling right in the middle of those two, I like the feel of the smaller saddle. So I go for the medium large, and the other saddles that I have, before I knew that, as I ordered the larger ones. And if you can find like one of the one size fits all or one size fits most, and I think the fits most only really comes into not the actual way that the saddle fits, like around your butt, but more about the length of the waist belt. So that's one of the things when we were working at the show with Tethered is, that Phantom fit pretty much everybody, but for the really big guys or the bigger guys, the belt was too long. And I don't have any experience with their Menace. That's their kind of like big boy saddle, and it has it's got a longer waist belt. So, but they do have them out there, built for that. But, if you're looking for, completely made in the USA, you're looking at the Cruisers, the Latitudes. Obviously, the Tethered Phantom is made in the U.S. And then for, platforms and all of that, I mean, you could go forever. I really like the Mission. It's a great casting. Obviously Novix has all of the history with all Lone Wolf and all of that stuff, but it's just a huge platform. And the Predator is about the perfect size. The XL's kind of unnecessary, but when you put them side by side, the casting on the Predator is kind of crude compared to the Mission. And I know my Tethered guys will say, and I'm friends with those guys. It's not like I'm, I'm just saying, well, guys that use the Predator, you know, it's a great platform, but I just think that the casting is like much cleaner. It's just a great product with the mission, so I'm excited to see if they come out with like a smaller one. Other platforms, I mean, Cruiser's coming out with a platform this year. Timber Ninja's working on their carbon fiber one. XOP's got a platform coming out. Out on a Limb's coming out with new products after new products after new products. So we're looking at a lot of cool things coming out on the market. I mean, Dan said, at some point he's going to have a saddle platform. And, all of those things, it's going to take, either you're going to have to know your budget or you're going to have to get your hands on them and see what you like. You can take my word for it, and I can point you in the right direction. And I would, reach out to, Spencer, the Saddle Hunter YouTube. He's another Michigan guy. He's doing all of the reviews on every single saddle that he can get his hands on. But I think online there's so many fanboys and so many guys that have spent their money and so many guys that have taken to saddle hunting and they've only ever used one saddle and they think that it's great, it's the best one, and theirs is the best. And what I found too is even talking with some of the guys that make these saddles, the companies, they're not trying out their competitors' saddles. Or a lot of the guys that I talk to, I'm asking them, have you seen this? Yeah. Have you tried it? No. And I think, I don't know. I think to put out something or to have that bit of information, that hands-on thing, to know, not only your product but your competitor's product inside and out, I think is important to be able to know where your strengths and obviously your weaknesses are. So it's really tough. If I was going to recommend a setup, it would be similar to what we're giving away, a one size fits all classic. So you're going to start out with something that already has an adjustable bridge. It fits 99% of the people. It's not very expensive. It's probably one of the least expensive saddles out there. And then for ropes, I mean, I've been talking to guys back and forth about putting ropes together, like at Westspur, where you can have them sew an eye for you and you can have it made up. And it's not that expensive. And that's with the Samson Predator rope. So that's a big rope. I mean, it's bulky. But I think Bowman Outdoors, Sean over with Silent Approach, you can get Oplox tether for like, $40 or something, which is a great price, including the carabiner. And for most people, when you're buying a tether and a lineman rope, when you buy a lineman rope, it comes with 2 carabiners, and the carabiners are expensive. I mean, go online, go on Amazon, price them out there, $10, $12, upwards a piece, for light climbing rated carabiners. So that goes into that price. So, I mean, when we gave away our Phantom with the ropes, those ropes that I bought 2 lineman's ropes because we just girth hitch them on one side and tuck that into a pouch. You can save yourself some money that way. So you can go get, all your ropes from Sean, probably for $70 for, $70, $80 for Oplox. And that's what I would do, just because it balls up so nice. Trophy Line's coming out with new 8mm ropes. Tethered's coming out with, theirs are already out with 8mm ropes. Wild Edge, Latitudes, all these guys are using Oplox because it's smaller, it packs up, and I think that's one of the main things with saddle hunting is the bulk, is just trying to cut down on that, trying to make everything as streamlined as possible. So I would buy that saddle, I would buy those ropes, and obviously I'm a top stick platform guy. I'm using the one from Artisan Outdoor Fabrication. I'm excited to see what that Trophy Line Wingman, when that comes out, to try that. I'll definitely be trying that this year. I may be retrofitting it or cross-fitting it to my Beast sticks or something else. But I'm going to try their sticks as well. I've not tried a mini, like a true mini 17-inch stick, but I don't seem to have a problem with that. But as far as a saddle and ropes, just for straight away, like budget, that's what I would go with. If you wanted a bigger saddle, if you were a bigger guy, if you were looking more for comfort than necessarily like a minimalist saddle, I'm very impressed with that Cruiser XC as far as comfort, fitment, everything. Obviously, you know, the one they sent me has the adjustable bridge and the upgraded buckle. So it's kind of got everything that I'd be looking for in a saddle anyways. But I mean, like I said, it's single digits here, so I haven't worn it and walked a long way. So that's one of the things with, you know, I wear my saddle in, so I'm going to need to do a little bit more testing on that one to kind of have a good opinion. But as far as sitting in it, in the comfort, that one is right up there as far as the top, as far as comfort. I see why people like that one. Back to the sticks. A lot of people worry about hunting height, and they're worried about how many sticks and what sticks and aiders. And I mean, I've been fielding a lot of questions about aiders, and the wire aiders and all of that sort of thing. Honestly, I was, when the wire aiders first came out, I was kind of nervous about them, just in a sense of, you know, you're trusting all of that to just a crimp. But after talking with Jason Red, Timber Ninja, and I mean, Jason's an awesome guy, but, you know, he works in selling industrial safety equipment. And so he's, you know, rock climber. He's building sticks that are TMA tested, having everything tested, and he uses a similar aider with the similar attachment system. You know, his are up inside of the tubing, but he was telling me, you know, the ratings on those and, you know, what the poundages are for the amount of crimping and stuff like that. So it kind of set my mind at ease on that. I've not used that style of aider, mainly because I don't use a whole lot of aiders. I bought a 5-step aider, much like many guys when you're seeing all this stuff. It's everything is so cool and you want to try it, and you know, and it just wasn't for me at all. So I made myself an aider out of 8mm climbing rope, and it's a movable aider. And what I do is I throw it over the top of the entire stick, and it just kind of sets on the standoff. Step on it, get onto the stick, pull it up, throw it over me like a sash, and then I keep going up. And most of the time when I'm using it, I'll only use it on the bottom 2 sticks, and then I'll just go up. I carry 4 sticks with me, but I don't use it every time because lots of times I'm only using 3 sticks. You know, I've hunted, you know, a couple times with 2 24-inch sticks, just because of cover and where you need to be. And it kind of goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning, is that kind of like run what you brung. Like if you've got a set of helium sticks, if you've got a set of, I've used a ton of sticks, but I think the first sticks that I actually got was a set of leverage sticks, and I used those, and I built an aider, and I bought an aider, and I never used it. I never needed it, and I was seeing deer at, you know, 12 feet, 15 feet, and I'd say that's the average height that I hunt. I mean, you don't know what you don't know when you start off, of course, and that's why people listen to podcasts and stuff like that. But I mean, for me, that aider is just for that 1 or 2 different situation. Now, if I wanted to only carry 2 sticks, then I might want a multi-step aider, and I could probably get to the heights that I'm getting to right now with like a 2 or 3 step aider. And, you know, but that's just, I don't seem to have a problem with running the 4 sticks, and I've got the B sticks, and they're, good enough for me. So that, as far as height goes, but everybody wants to fumble around with aiders and stuff like that when they're still just trying to figure out what sticks they need to buy. So I would just get comfortable, get a system down, and then figure out what it is that you need. Because it doesn't do you any good if you're not in the game. So if you're not seeing deer, then it obviously wasn't, hunting height that got you busted. It was something, either you're in the wrong spot, or, I mean, if you start getting busted by deer and they're picking you off or something like that, then maybe you need to get a little bit higher. But I would say that for all of that type of thing is whatever you can get your hands on, whatever you can carry, whatever you have the ability to use, I would use those, and then figure out what you like or what you need from that. And then I guess just to kind of round this out, I mean, I had a bunch of different questions, but I kind of went longer than I wanted to on saddles and sticks and stuff like that. But I'm just sitting down here with a glass of scotch, sitting in front of the fire talking to myself. So it's kind of hard, I guess easy to lose track of time. But for our 2021 season, I don't have any out-of-state plans, really. I'm going to be going to Colorado on an elk hunt. Not my normal cup of tea. We're doing a out-of-state first rifle season spike camp, but I'm doing that with my dad. I'm excited to go and hunt, go on a hunt, go out. Obviously going back out west is going to be cool, but hunting with my dad, I haven't hunted with him in, for a real, multi-day hunt in a few years now, and going out west and having that sort of experience is going to be fun. It's going to be really different. I'm planning on bringing my bow unless they tell me that I can't. But I'm used to bringing all my stuff with me all the time, and one of our Patreons is going on the same hunt, and he's geeking out about these guys are going all buck wild on their rifles and ammo, and an ammo shortage right now, and I'm just over here like, I'm just going to bring my bow. There's going to be plenty of rifles in camp if I need to shoot something, but I'm just going out there. It's going to be fun. I'll be doing my best to film my dad killing elk, so I'm excited about that, but that's dipping into a lot of the time off that I have for whitetail hunting, so probably just going to be around Michigan, possibly doing some early season whitetail hunting out of state. I keep romanticizing like Ohio. It's closer than my UP property. We can get down there in 6 hours, I think, to where I want to be, and huge deer down there. So I'd like to try that. Depending on what our so we just put in for all of our turkey seasons, trying to get first season here in Michigan. If we do, then we'll hunt that first week. I'm up because I've not killed one with a bow yet, so that's going to be goal number one. And then that following week, maybe heading down to Tennessee to hunt turkeys and hang out with the tethered guys that teach and train down there, and do some turkey hunting. But if you've been following along with the hunting public, when you buy your license down there, you can buy a deer license and get, a bunch of turkey licenses, a bunch of deer licenses, not very expensive. So my early season hunting may depending on what tag I buy for that, if I go to Tennessee, maybe down there for some early season hunting as well. So, but my focus this year, and I said it last year, and I didn't do a very good job at it. I found the deer, I just couldn't get on them, just couldn't get one killed. I ended up killing that other one, and just kind of using my time inefficiently, I guess, because I had already killed a deer, so I had the monkey off my back. But I want to kill one early. I want to find one. I want to do the scouting. I want to put myself in a position, to kill one within the first week. It's just something for me. And I guess kind of back to that, becoming a better hunter, learning the woods, and it's not the gear, is I would really, really, really like to kill one from the ground, and there's this part of me that just wants to say, screw the saddle, screw the sticks, just hunt from the ground. I think that would make me a better hunter. But then there's a part of me that says, well, that you're just watching too much Hunting Public, and that they're doing it. They make it look easy. But I think it would be one of those things that would actually help me to become a better hunter. It would change the way that you'd have to look at things. And I mean, there's a reason why people hunt from tree stands. So I still want to kill one from the ground. But we'll see. From the rest of the group, Frank and Ernie, you're going to get what you get. They're going to bounce around, and really hoping that Frank will kill something that'll connect this year. I mean, he had a great season last year. He just couldn't connect. They were in the right spots. It just didn't work out. And then John, John is going to be, like I said, I don't think he's got an elk hunt planned for next year. Actually, Frank and Ernie are talking about going back to Colorado, elk hunting next year as well too. So that may be on the horizon for them. But I'm going to be out there middle of October, so that's what we've got coming up for 2021. This is where I'm going to kind of close it out. Thanks for listening. If you made it this long, go online, sign up for that bow. I mean, it's an awesome package that we're giving away. Like I say, just bowhunterchroniclespodcast.com, and just fill out the email sheet. I mean, it's going to be probably $1,000, $1,200 package that we're giving away. So it's going to be great for someone to win, and we're excited to do it. We'll be up at the Total Archery Challenge. We're looking to do another barbecue up there. We've got the same condo that we rented years prior. We're just upstairs now, but we'll be out there grilling and hanging out, and we'll bring any of the saddle stuff or whatever to check out. And then we're actively working on putting together a shoot here in Muskegon at our Bowman's Club, the Muskegon Bowman's Club, to do a 3D shoot and hang out and kind of do the same thing and get some of the latitudes that said that they'd be in if we were going to do something like that. Trying to get some speakers or some kind of personalities, friends of the show, to come and hang out and kind of do that sort of thing. Just have a good old time. So keep following along. Thanks everybody for all the support and everything that you do. Sorry you had to endure this monologue of mine, but thanks for listening. That's all I got.